Without the state drive down the course, which their Majesties decided to abandon owing to bad weather, the opening of Ascot is bereft of much of its pageantry, but the King and Queen are present to watch the first day's racing from their flower-bordered box. It might have been thought that Ascot without the sun would mean Ascot without fashion, but it takes more than this to damp feminine enthusiasm for appearing in new and wonderful creations. And so we see, as usual, beautiful women wearing lovely dresses, with that poise and distinction so characteristic of English women. Mere males contrive to be as elegant as possible, while bearing on their heads that noble emblem of tradition, the topper. Here you see a happy picture.
And the royal enclosure carries its full complement of privileged spectators. In the paddock, the horses are not conspicuous, but that is hardly important, because there is plenty else to see. Fashion makes this her festival of festivals, and the elite of the world's turf patrons promenade between races to scrutinize and criticize each other. A mischievous wind has gotten up for the opening day, and crossing the course for refreshment in the club marquees becomes a boisterous business for the wearers of broad brims. Don't let us forget the sprucely attired male, for this is one of the days when the grey topper vindicates its virtuous existence.
Big, flat sailor model of black straw with a white crown. The weather cast a gloomy influence over the dress display. Everybody brought raincoats or waterproof capes and had occasion to wear them, while umbrellas were in depressing evidence. Where the protective mackintosh afforded a glimpse of the sheltered creations, they were seen to be less extravagant than usual. Skirts not lower than ankle length. If you're a student of such things, you may be able to spot a few celebrities from the picture. Isn't the tall man the young Duke of Marlborough? The sun breaks through occasionally, engendering hopes of better weather for the remainder of the meeting. But dainty shoe leather still has to be carefully picked up and as gingerly set down again on the rain-sodden turf as recourse is had to the tea tents. Naturally, the horses, when it's their turn to tread the dance itself, only flowers. Despite the absence of royalty, Ascot is packed. The sun shines and brings out the new hats and new dresses, with all the grey toppers, well seasoned, in attendance. As usual, there are some striking fashions. For instance, the large hat with the glass brim.
Hello, boy, know anything good? Among the thousands who go to Ascot because Ascot is Ascot, there are also some who know about horses. For you must have horses for a race meeting, and you'll probably see some presently. Yes, here they are, 34 runners lined up for the Ascot Stakes, and we'll waste no time in getting them. So America keeps the cup, which the Duchess of Gloucester presents. Ascot was a favoured festival this year, though on Gold Cup Day there was a break in the weather, but the rains cleared off in time for the big race itself. Those who kept their best clothes for Thursday were therefore justified in their confidence. Mrs. Charles Sweeney was there, and generally Ascot maintained its highest standards of loveliness and smartness. And there was a climax in the race for the Gold Cup, which fulfilled every racing expectation. All eyes are on Mr. Woodward's Omaha, who is in a great state of excitement himself. The field of 9 gets away to a good start.
Ascot is a fashion parade at which lovely limbs take on their most superb array and glorious apparel sets off exquisite faces. Side by side with this comely company, their compeers compare rather unfavourably, but even the masculine miscellany contrive to present a smart appearance in formal morning dress and grey toppers. There is also, of course, racing. For instance, the Ascot Stakes. 29 runners get away, a big field, but the prizes are big too.
In contrast to last year, everything was set fair for the coronation Ascot, and the affairs of fashion could be conducted without interference from Jupiter Pluvius. And the overriding problem was short skirts or long. What is your verdict? Seeing that Ascot is the home of advanced modes, I think the impression made by the short skirts is significant. As for advanced modes, there was actually a crinoline dress to be seen. It was, as it should be, a feminine...
Right on fashion. Tell me, what about that important problem of the turf, short skirts or long?
It looks as if the short skirts have it, though the real creations don't always come out on the first day. Here's a picture which puts the issue very clearly.
One of the papers said that the long trailing Ascot gown was as dead as the dodo.
That was a bit unkind, but don't you think it's hats which are dominating Ascot this year?
I believe you. What does the Duchess of Kent wear on Hunt Cup Day?
Rather the same style as on the opening day. Everybody again remarked, how like Queen Alexandra.
And it's chillier today than Tuesday, and there's quite a breeze to upset the large brims. But what a show they make. Everybody's looking round to spot the people they know. I've just seen Tom Webster.
And there's Kay Stammers, fresh from her Whiteman Cup battles.
And Douglas Fairbanks, I think, with Mrs. Fairbanks. And with them are Mr. and Mrs. Darrell Zanuck from Hollywood.
What about men's fashions? Can't we spare a word for them?
Well, what is there to say? It's a question of a grey hat or a grey hat, and the answer is usually a grey hat.
Of course, the most famous race meeting in the world was shorn of some of its glory. It was so cold that a lot of furs had to come out of mothballs. This is the middle of summer, don't forget. Skirts were shorter, but the news hadn't got round to one or two, and on the whole, the fashions were disappointing. In fact, the men were almost as smart as the women. What do you think? And what are the men looking at? Someone who's forgotten to come in a frock at all, or the racing? No luck. It's the parade for the gold.
And all that it may have been, but the English climate always has the last word, and Hunt Cup Day really was wet. Wisely enough, many people had come prepared for the worst, and in that respect at least they weren't disappointed. well patronized as usual, and from the feminine point of view, if clothes were austerity, hats most certainly weren't. For the men, bowlers replaced the familiar grey toppers of previous years. That's a pre-war shot, by the way, but that was as the king had commanded. What the men lacked in stylishness, the ladies certainly made up with their hats. And why not? Ascot always was a day of fashion. And of course there were horses. Let's not forget that in the glories of feminine headwear, and there were races to be run, including the Ascot Stakes. Their Majesties went down to the paddock to see the runners, and incidentally gave us this intimate picture of democratic royalty. The Ascot... It really must have been quite a tricky business trying to look your best at Ascot, what with coupon and weather troubles. And when the sun was out, so were the hats and the frocks, many of them absolutely in the Ascot form. Everyone hoped it would keep fine for the big race, but just before the start, rain came down again. The King and Princess Elizabeth were almost caught in the very heavy thunder shower that came streaming down about the time the runners were parading.
The racing or the fashions are the more important at Ascot. As far as the ladies are concerned, I feel there can be no room for doubt. Anyway, the first day saw what was undoubtedly the biggest and best fashion parade since 1939. For the men, as I've already said, the grey topper was once again on top. For the first time since the war, in fact, Ascot really looked like Ascot, a welcome sign of the times. Mind you, once you've commented on masculine fashions, there's not really much more to be said. But I rather feel there's a lot that could be said about these. But frankly, I'm struck dumb with admiration. In the royal box with her parents, it was certainly fitting that on Ladies' Day, the fashion parade should be at its best and brightest. With the shades of austerity still about us, however hard we try to fool ourselves, it's only natural that the feminine personality should find its free expression in millinery. After all, hats are coupon-free, and Gold Cup Day this year produced some stunning creations. With the French challenge at its most powerful, the paddock was naturally the centre of interest, and the tote was well patronised. The King and Queen, accompanied by Princess Elizabeth, went to see the runners for the Gold Cup.